are live. Let me just double check. Let's see if Facebook is working. Beautiful. Facebook is live. All right. You can hear me fine on your end, Claudia? Sounds coming through. All right. Beautiful. Okay. All right, let's get started. How are you feeling, Claudia? How's your heart?
Oh, my heart is very open and very excited to take this one to you today.
I'm very grateful that you're in my world, that I can text you and be like, hey, let's do some poetry. And you're like, yes, let's do some poetry. And now we're here. So thank you for joining. Thank you for joining me. For people that are either watching this on the replay or joining us live, this is Poetry is My Medicine, something I wanted to test out. Not that new. I've been doing poetry for a while, so has Claudia, but this format of sharing it live and expressing it is new to us. So what we're going to do today is share some poetry to each other. We're also going to be sharing it to people who join live. I would encourage you to reflect and, most importantly, feel these poems and notice what they bring up and what they help shift inside of you. And Claudia and I are going to do the same as we receive each other's poems. And if you are watching this in the replay or you're joining live, you have questions as we go, pop them in the comments and we'd love to interact with you. So who wants to go first?
Well, first I want to say thank you for having me on and for making, the comment that you had, which is that I did receive the text maybe an hour ago when I woke up, since we have a bit of a time difference. And my initial is yes. And then I panic. How am I going to get my poetry together? And then I think, what an amazing relationship I have with you. How incredible that we can just connect this deeply, this quickly, at a heart level in a way that is so powerful, so meaning, and in my life, Harrison, so transcending, that the only answer can then be, yes, I'm along for the ride. So thank you for inviting me on this one today. I'm super excited. And
You're welcome.
I'm happy to start off. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Yeah, let's do that. You can start. And again, I encourage people tuning in, how I'm going to receive this is just open my heart. So that's all you need to do. So when you're ready, Claudia, you can share your first poem, then we'll go from there.
Thank you. So for those of you listening or watching, Harrison and I are still in a process of getting to know each other. And I imagine on some level, we always will be in our lives. But we are finding these really creative and unusual ways of getting to know each other. So I am here to take him along on a little bit of my poetic journey in my life, and to have you witness, join, and be our allies along the way here today. So this is my first poem. I wrote it in the 3rd grade. So it's called A Special Teacher. A rose is in your mind, and love is in your heart. You are never behind, for the reason you are smart. I'm glad to be with you and learn quite a lot when the days are cold or when the days are hot. That's it.
Love it. I mean, the first thing, so I'm already really enjoying connecting to your writing process, especially from such a long time ago. But I get I speak a lot about, the inner child. I know you know that, but for people tuning in, I think it's quite relevant to the work that I do. And I think we often forget that we can infuse our writing with that energetic being that is us, right? That inner child essence. So, I mean, in that quick little poem, I just get blasted by the inner child, put very simply. Was that the intention of the poem? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's actually a little bit difficult to remember, but I'm not surprised by the theme, which is a special teacher.
Yeah.
That, right, and me, including, we're talking, very early here, love is in your heart. So I thought, for anybody who follows any of my work, and Harrison, it well, it's very love-centered. So it was significant for me to find this poem because I do remember that it was very important to me that the teachers had a loving presence very early on. And as a child, I was very shut down and put off by anybody who was in an authoritative figure who showed anything less than love. So the very stern teachers, the ones that were a bit punishing, those teachers, I would just become very, very quiet. And it would impact my learning journey. So I'm pretty sure that
that's what you were channeling.
That's what I was channeling, and that this was about a very special teacher in primary school for me.
That was different. That was different to the, this might sound a bit harsh, but I'll just say it, different to the factory workers that were creating more factory workers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think that heart is necessary.
Yeah. That's no judgment, right? I think, yeah, that's a whole other conversation. But I think it's interesting, Claudia, that at that age, and I think this is the intention of why I wanted to do this live, you were already starting to see the medicine in the writing, right? The processing of that challenge through the school system that you were emotionally feeling, right? And writing it was the cure in many ways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that it was an early natural creative expression for me. This might have been an assignment in class, because I found a book that, I travel and move so much that I no longer have the book. I digitized all of it. But I think that it's a reflection of someone who was really positive in my early years.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. All right, Meagher. And I already shared this poem with you, but I'm going to share it again because it's my most recent baby, and it's where my consciousness state is at the moment. So I want to share it because that's where I'm at. And again, I would encourage people watching either live or in the replay to open your heart to these poems. And there is no right way to hear a poem. There is just your way to hear it. So whatever my intention is, and I'll explain it a little bit after it, if it doesn't match yours, that's okay, right? As long as you're receiving it, that's the main intention. So this poem is called A Distant Day. In the realm of dreams, I wandered astray, lost in the web of a shiny, distant day. I sought my worth in the future's embrace, as time slipped through, leaving nothing to face. With eager eyes, I chased tomorrow's light, convinced that success would make bad things right. But as my hopes soared, reality unwound, leaving me adrift, a boy lost and found. In visions of grandeur, I built castles in the sky, yet neglected the present, fully knowing why. I let my dreams define the essence of me, unaware of the price, the toll and its fee. Days turned to weeks, unfolding to years, and still I clung to long-distant frontiers. But presence whispered gently as a solemn, heartfelt plea, come back to the now and set yourself free. So I journeyed home, retracing my steps, releasing the burden of my future frets, for in this very moment, I found a treasure, a priceless gift beyond all 3D measure, the beauty of existence in its simplest form, a symphony of expression, gentle and warm. In each breath I take, a chance to renew, to embrace the present, to find what's true. So no longer lost in the mirage of time, I embraced my worth that I now define. For my value resides in the here and the now, in the love I give, in the seeds I plow. So let us not be fooled by the future's reflection, but cherish the nowness and be with introspection. For life's true worth is not a distant goal, but the journey and the play birthed for your soul. How does that
I
how does
had
that
to
one feel?
I had to close my eyes this time to really go inward with your words. And yeah, they're moving. They're incredibly moving. But before I give you my reaction, I'm curious because I have to say that in all the spiritual literature that infuses our days through social media and books and everything else, you've just imparted a really specific and I think unique message. So I want to hear what your take is before I comment.
Ooh, bit of a cliffhanger there. Um, so yeah, I'll just share that. So I'm really coming to the understanding that the poetry in itself is not just magical, but I think the story in which it encapsulates is also magical. My story around how it was birthed. And I mean, put simply, that poem came from pain that originated from a continual projection of myself into future versions that have yet to exist. And, I'll stand in some loving ego here. I'm very aware of this phenomena. This is not a new thing. But I'm also very human, and I experience new human experiences, and this same challenge comes in a different disguise. And I think I've recently come back to an awakening of this same challenge in a new mask, but still holding pain that needs to be seen. And that's where that poem came from, a coming back to a truth that was always there, but needed reflection within this new context.
Mm. Well, I really love the disclosure about the pain, but more so, Harrison, that you are really, in talking about poetry here today, are sharing a way in which that pain can be nurtured. Because we talk a lot about process, and then, we can process through talk, we can process through writing, we can process through so many things. But for those listening, I want you to know that what Harrison and I are doing here today isn't just process. We are literally loving into the experience and each other and being here with you as our witnesses and allies today. And I think that's really big. I want to say that my interpretation was that you presented a unique point of view about being in the present and connecting that to our self-worth. And I have to say, to you, because that staying in the moment, and we all detach, and everyone's saying, be present, be present. We all detach millions of times a day. It's part of being human. But you connected that to, if you stay attached, if you stay present, if you stay in the moment, there lies your worthiness and staying in that worthiness. And it just hits me like an arrow.
Yeah. It's always there. That's, I think, I'm happy that you're getting that message. It's funny that you feel it so deeply because it's deep inside of me as well, and it's always there. But like I said, we step into new contexts and we fall into new illusions and forget it. So yeah, this poem brings me back to that truth. All right, Miss Claudia, next up, what's hit me with some more poetry love?
All right, here we go. Okay, my
Con-
8th grade poem.
We're going on a journey.
That's right, we're going on a journey. Okay. These dumb shoes. These dumb shoes, they keep falling off. I wish that they would fit. I'm tired of trying them on, so I think it's time to quit. I want to be like the girls who sit in the park all day and chat about private things and this and that. Every time I come near, they tell me I'm too young to stay. They say I should be with kids my age, running off to play. But don't worry, one of these days, these shoes will come on fine, and then they'll know who's up next in line to join the bunch and sit and chat about private things and this and that.
So hit me with the context of that one.
It's really appropriate for a middle school, child to really feel like there are girls that you can really join in the crowd and those that you can't. And I'm not sure that I was really only referring to my school experience. I may have been referring in my vague recollection to older people in general or women in general. I was always an old soul and emotionally related at a level where I was interested more in more intellectual things, more of what we talk about, what we get to do every day. I think since I was a child, I wanted connected, profound conversation. And I wanted to fit in with particularly that tribe, if you will.
Ooh, I mean, some big messages there, Claudia. I'm already enjoying this progression. I'm excited for what's coming next, but it's, I know you know this through the work that you do, through your therapy work, but for people that are unaware, we know how important the anchoring of the ego structure is in that age frame, right? 7, 8, 9, 10. And it's so easy for us to place boxes on ourselves based off wanting to belong, wanting to connect, even if everything inside of us is screaming and saying otherwise, right? Even if, in your case, your intuitive spiritual essence is yearning for that deeper spiritual quality, that is superseded by the human desire for safety, support, and security. It's interesting.
Thank you. I think, yeah, spot on. And it just makes me laugh. I'm going to show an image so you can see.
Let's do it. Oh, hang on. There we go. Oh,
I got to get it in the camera here. Why does this
there we
happen?
go. There we go.
Is it there?
No, it's gone now.
Gone. Oh, it's too bad I can't get.
Leave it there. Leave it there. Yeah. So it's all the writing of it.
Yeah, no, what I was trying to show is the kid paper.
Oh, yeah, I can see
that?
Yeah. I love it. It adds that quality.
It really does.
All right, let's keep flowing, Claudia. I want to just welcome people that are joining live on Facebook. Enjoy the poetry. If something bubbles up for you, please welcome. You're welcome to add in comments if you want to, if there's anything that bubbles up. Okay, next up, what do I want to read? Okay, let's do this one. Let's go old school. Let's go back. Since Claudia's going back, I'm going to go back in my very old poetry timeline of 3 months. Um, and this one's actually really near and dear to my heart, and it's connected to actually your theme of childhood development. I think if people, I might put this on the podcast. I don't know yet, but if you're listening to this on the podcast, I've spoken many times about my journey as a boy that grew up in a world where it still is seen as unmanly to be emotional, unmanly to be sensitive, unmanly to express, I would say, the divine feminine that is in each and every soul. So this poem, if I can find it, is connected to that. And it is called it's called An Emotional Man. I'm an emotional man, caring and outspoken. Yet some may see my feelings as wrong and even broken. I feel things so deeply, my heart's not stone. And sometimes my tears flow freely, especially when I'm alone. Yet I'm not ashamed to release what's in my heart, even though society may see it as weak or an inferior part. But I believe that being emotional is a strength and a power. It helps me connect with others and is a gift that will always flower. I feel joy and love as intensely as pain, and I express them all fully, not holding back in vain. I'm not afraid to share my fears or shadowy doubts, as vulnerability is what being in this 3D form is all about. I'm not perfect at all. I too have my flaws, but my emotions make me who I am without hesitation or pause. And though it may seem like a burden to bear, I wouldn't trade my heart for anything. It's diamond and rare. So here's to all the emotional men in the world out there. May you continue to express yourselves with devotion and care. Let's show the world what it means to be manly and strong, with our hearts beating loudly, singing our passionate and sensitive song.
So good. So good. Ladies, listen up. Listen up, an emotional man.
You just have the one daughter, Claudia, right? You don't have any other children, just the one daughter.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I have the one daughter.
Have you ever imagined having a boy?
My whole life. My whole life. Yeah. Yeah. I'm blessed with one daughter. And in my life, I was pretty sure there were two. So we are where we are. She's 12 now. But yes, I always imagined having a son who I could truly allow to be an emotional man. And I'll tell you something. When I hear this, I say, publish it, please. Scream it to the seven winds, all of them, because we are shifting how we understand emotion and its place in our culture. But we are still operating under an old framework of culture. So as a therapist, I have people who come to me and say they want a man who is really attuned to natural intuitive emotion. However, they still want the macho persona of protection that comes through financial stability or I speak first and I pull the chair out and I do all of that. And what I want to say is one does not exclude the other. You create your own rules, but you also don't always get to have both ways and everything.
Yeah.
You have a sensitive man who is actually heart open as you come through and tell us so clearly, ladies, please sit back and listen, because you have everything if you have someone who can sit in their heart and be with your heart.
I mean, not much more I can add to that, Claudia. I thought that was beautiful and I received the love. I will just say speaking to that new paradigm that you were just saying and describing, connecting into being a sensitive masculine can also support the wounded masculine in females, right? And what I mean by this is, and I won't go too deeply into this because could derail us, but I'll just speak to it briefly. Like, there's so much tension around bringing down the patriarchy, right? The unhealthy masculine. And it is very real. It is there. It is evident. But we're not stopping to ask, what is a balanced masculine? What is an individual soul that has balanced feminine and balanced masculine? So I say this for all the men listening that are scared to embody their inner feminine, their inner sensitivities. When you embody the balance on whatever the polarity, you don't just do it for you, right? You do it to show an example of the people, show an example to the people you love in your life, right? Including the women.
Mm-hmm. Lovely. No, it is. It's so true because it really, we talk a lot about light and shadow, and I'm for the very first time noticing, because we usually don't do this in the camera screen side by side, how you're in the darkness and I'm in the light.
Yeah.
In our backgrounds, really merging that balance of masculine,
the polarity.
Exactly. Yeah. into that very moment. And what's interesting is I want to share my experience of you here, if I can just derail us for just a second.
Go for it.
Okay. And later on, maybe after this, we'll get into the question of that you asked me about ever wanting a son. I'll take us way in another.
It's probably connected.
Probably. But what I really am curious about here is I experience you not as all sensitive, not as all whatever perception there is of a man who is in touch with his emotions, too soft. Those are the things that I hear. That I was trying to think of the labels because I don't operate with them, so I might not be the best critic. Too soft. What's interesting is I experience you as extremely compassionate, and I experience you as very forgiving. But I also know, that triggered him or that lit him up, right? And then I see you move through it. I see you move through the emotion in such an open-hearted way. To me, in order to do that,
you need to be sensitive.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And the masculine and feminine need to be in balance, or you just pull in one of the two directions.
I think you're getting to the root, and we'll speak to this, and I want to hear another poem from you, Claudia. But I think this hits a root, a misconception around sensitivity at large. Right? I think we have a sensitivity that I think we have a misconception that sensitivity means something's broken, or something is too much, or something is off the Richter. When in reality, if you come into a balanced sensitivity within yourself, it actually allows you to experience more of life. It allows you to instead of reacting to the world based off unprocessed wounds and pain, because you are more sensitive, you take in more information, you're able to respond, right? You're able to, as you said, add the compassion, add the kindness, make the right step instead of the reactory step.
I mean, that's the stuff that positive, growing relationships, and as we've been talking a lot about lately, spiritual partnerships are made of. Yeah.
Love it. All right, Claudia, hit me with another poem.
All right.
I'm ready for the medicine.
Thank you. Okay. This takes you into my teen years. We'll move into my adult years after this one. Okay. Losing a friend. Every time I lose something, I lose a part of me. Every time I lose something, nothing worse could be. Most of the things I lose, I can always buy back. Then I forget the responsibilities I lack. But the worst thing to lose is to lose a friend, the one you never meant to hurt in the end. No, our friendship's not a waste. It just didn't work out. But in my mind, it's still a doubt. It's not your fault. And it's not mine. It's no one's fault friendships decline. If we can keep our friendship close, let's keep it from afar. After all, we should just accept friendships for what they are. Maybe it's just better for the both of us to let go. But right now, I'm so confused. I just really don't know. This friendship wasn't meant to be forever, but don't ask me why. But they say that after a while, everything must die. You can
So
feel the angst.
that's what I was about to say. I was about to say I'm interested in how adult Claudia views teenage Claudia writing that poem.
Oh, I love that question.
Yeah.
It's vulnerable. It's vulnerable to
Yeah.
read it. That's how adult Claudia, because these poems have never been read. They've never, I think, been shared. And it feels vulnerable and yet healing, right? Because that's what we're doing here today is we're using our poetry as our medicine. There's some things in here that I would not have expected to feel as an adult. And one of them is my ability, even then, to have an element of unconditional acceptance for others. Really early on, saying, we're still friends. We just,
moving on.
We move on. We have to do it from afar. And not having to, love possessively the way teens often really, freak out. And I think I did freak out later on as I get into my upper teens. But nice to look.
Yeah, that's all I was feeling is that this is, I know that you know the concept of doing and the worth of doing it in a child letter. And it's interesting. I had a conversation the other day around, I've always used that healing modality for people that are new to it. It's the process of connecting to your inner child and then writing a letter to her or him. I've always done the process of you writing a letter to that younger self. But hearing your poem, it really shows the value of connecting into the energy of that younger self and allowing that to write to you, right? To what does that piece of your internal family system, what consciousness is it currently in, right? Is it in the consciousness of angst? Is it in the consciousness of unconditional love? And I think it shows us a lot, right? It's at the very least teaches us something, right?
I hope so. It's certainly certainly teaching me here today. I'm surprised that I don't remember at which point these 5 countries later were kept.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But they're there.
Yeah.
It's almost like they could never go. They're attached to you, Claudia.
Yeah. All right. Your turn.
Hang on, phone going off. Okay, Meagher. Next poem here. I think we'll probably maybe let's do one more each, Claudia. I'm feeling.
Okay.
So it's interesting. I think that this is probably coming from your energy. I feel more open to the space I was in when writing these poems. I think I'm going to do this one next here. And as I begin to tune into it, I'm like, oh, I'm not there anymore, but I know where this comes from. So this is called The Petals of My Heart. The petals of my heart, delicate and true, flutter with each beat, loving anew. Their vibrant colors are a reflection of me, showing the world all that I can be. Each petal a feeling, a memory, a dream, a tapestry of life stitched in every seam. Some heavy with sadness, burdened with pain, all of them woven in the petal's delicate frame. They shine in the light, they glisten in the rain, a reflection of me and all my shadows needing a name. The petals like to dance to the rhythm of my life, twirling and spinning through joy and all my strife, never ceasing to step in or bending to will, each one a story waiting to spill. For the petals of my heart, they're always seeking to open, forever in bloom, in sacred love to be chosen.
I can see that one.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I can see that one. Wow. So your turn. I really want to hear from you what was going on. Yeah.
That's probably the most vulnerable question you could have asked. So two things simultaneously. One, a deeper step into my spiritual journey of understanding of what my heart actually is. And it's many things, but one of the answers I came to was this flower, right? This image of a flower that has these petals that open in stages, that with each petal having its own key to my spiritual journey. So that was happening simultaneously with a choice, an active choice to open my heart in new ways, in a new way for a very long time that I hadn't opened before. So there was a lot of, and there still is, but back in that state of consciousness, a lot more sort of fresh hope, fresh courage, fresh awe is the emotion that comes up of a brave new world, of a new flare of love to experiment with and see what would happen.
Oh my God, I love it so much. You're just talking, and I'm just like thinking, I'm going to pick up all the petals on my walk today and dance in them and allow that awe and that blooming to reveal itself in the way that you so just metaphorically and beautifully described. Gorgeous.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you for asking. And yeah, I find I'm at a different stage with my heart now that's, just as equal, just as deserving of love. But it's funny noticing the difference, oh, there's a big difference. All right, let's finish with one of your beautiful poems.
Okay, so Claudia can't get these in the camera right there. Am I there?
Nope. One more, a little bit. Oh, yep, there we go. Got it.
There we go. Okay, so this one's coming from
your beautiful book, available on Amazon, The 7 Destinies of Love by Claudia de Llano.
Thank you. Okay, here we go. Ancestral love. The ancestors whispered of transcendence of their spirits. They made imprints on the path of life's dust that brought us to this moment. Those imprints were the lessons of inspiration and progress, error and agony. The ancestors whispered forgiveness from their hearts, illuminating forgiveness in our own. Those actions made imprints of dust that create this moment. Those lessons released our hearts and elucidated our callings. The ancestors whispered gratitude for the torch of life we carry. Those imprints cleared time and wiped away all our fears. Those lessons brought courage and compassion to our being. The ancestors whispered of love. Those imprints healed what only we could erase. Those lessons ignited passion of the heart, awakening the flame of all love, and we bowed to the ancestors with all our tears of sadness and joy. Those lessons lifted the burdens of life. Those imprints cleared the legacy we left behind. Our legacy became love.
That's definitely an adult Claudia writing. Obviously, it's in your book, but you can feel the. It's interesting. We started with that little girl that wanted to have those deep spiritual conversations, and you may not have had the words to speak about these topics back then, but I could very easily see that little girl wanting to dive deeper into those themes expressed in that poem, right?
Yeah, you hit it right on the head.
Yeah.
It's the poem really comes from my real devotion to the ancient Hawaiian healing system of Ho'oponopono, and it's something that I practice daily in order to really reconcile and heal lineage and whatever I carry through me from the past into this moment. And that was really being expressed there. But it comes from, at a deeper level, exactly what you describe, which is that I can now speak what I was really always carrying and wanting to express, but didn't have a language for, that already existed in me. And I'm not saying that in a light way where we say everything that you need to know is already inside of you, and people go, well, then how come I don't know what to do with that? It is a journey of awakening, as I like to call it, and learning through that awakening. And this is for me a real culmination of coming into the words to really speak my heart.
You can feel it. And I'm going to plug you here, not just because I love you and you're my friend and I want to see the best for you, but also because I know your book in general, that's one of its main intentions, right? Is to help people on that same journey that want to go deeper into the destinies of love and the awakening of these deep loving truths. So I'd really recommend people joining either live or listening to this on the replay. Tune into Claudia's writings just for that, right? For her beautiful journey, I think. And I'm starting to see this in my own writings, even though they're very new. It's nice to reflect on the journey that you've taken, right? That you, Claudia, the person, that I, as the reader, can relate to at a very human level. And we can see that we have a similar human path, but even deeper, these spiritual truths that we can all use.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And thank you for creating this so that it can be shared.
Thank you, Claudia. I had a really good time today. And I think if you're open to it, we might do more of these, because this just is soothing for me. And I just hope it's a bonus if it's helping other people.
Well, before you wrap up, can I just read
Please.
You one last one for you?
Do it. Hit me.
Okay. All right. This one goes way back to my early kid years, but I wanted to close today with this because this is really for you, even though I might have been, I don't know, 8 years old or what have you. It says, I'll always be there. When your world is turning and you're feeling down, all you have to do is turn around and I'll be there. When life strikes at you with suffocating powers, when life surrounds you with its intimidating towers, I'll be there. A loyal, understanding, and forgiving friend is one that will be with you until the end. So just remember, I'll always be there.
Oh, you're such a cutie, Claudia. I receive it. And I mean, this live today is a manifestation of that that pledge from your heart to mine. So love received. And I'll take you up on it. I'll continue to take you up on it. All right, Claudia, I love you. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for holding space so divinely as you always do. For everyone that tuned in live or you're listening to this on the podcast, we send you love. We send you light. And until next time, keep tuning into the poetry that is your medicine. Speak soon.